everybody? Welcome back to Dope Insight. Today we are honored to have special guest Pang Vang, hairstylist, entrepreneur, business owner, you name it. Definitely very blessed to have you here to join us here today.
Thank you.
To start us off, why don't you explain a little bit about what do you do in terms of like your career?
Yeah, so I'm a hairstylist. I've been doing hair for over 15 years. I opened up shop, officially opened up shop 3 years ago where I had employees, but I've been solo for 6 years. And then that just kind of took on like with me doing more things. So, man, I don't know. I have a lot of stuff. I could talk about a lot of stuff.
You started with hair, right?
Yeah, I started with hair, and actually, like how I got into doing hair, it was all I was trying to find something to do because I was always like in restaurants. I did retail. I was in like factory jobs too, and it wasn't until I moved up north and I didn't really know what to do. I was like in my 20s. I didn't go to college, and so I kind of did what I think what like really happened was I had like my own reality check. I was like, oh my gosh, like when I wasn't working, I was like sleeping all the time. Because I think well, what I learned about what was going on was like now that I know about what that was is I was like depressed, you know, because I didn't really know like what was going on. I took my son to school one morning, and then I was like, you know what, Ping, like today you're gonna start. Today you're gonna do it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I sat in front of my computer and I Googled like jobs where I was gonna make over $100,000 a year with less than 2 year degree, right? And so it was a long list, but I narrowed it down to 3. The schools that were like near me that offered those 3 choices that I picked out. I called all the universities and stuff like that. There was like a huge long wait, and then I got down to cosmetology, right?
Yeah.
I looked it up. I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I've always wanted to do like makeup because I wasn't like girly. So I was like, oh, I could be like girly. You know, I could learn how to be girly, right? So I found a school. I filled out the application to like do a tour.
Yeah.
By the end, and then I went to sleep. And then I took my nap. I took my nap. I went to go and pick up my son from school, and then I got the phone call that I could do a tour that day at 4:00.
Oh, so this was all in one day?
All in one day, dude. All in one day. I didn't even like
ambitious.
think about it.
Yeah.
So then I went, because I was determined. I was so upset at myself, you know, because I was like, I just didn't feel like I had like a purpose, you know, and I felt like at that age I should have one, you know.
So how old were you when you had this day?
I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
I ended up going for the tour. I went in for the tour. I didn't realize that all of the information they were asking me when I was sitting there for the tour, that they were filling out the financial aid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Like your application?
Yeah.
They're like, we're enrolling you.
Yeah.
Regardless
so
of what
like
you
I
think
had
after this.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, we'll see you in 2 weeks." I showed up, dude, and they had like this. They gave me this huge duffel bag with like mannequins and like the shears. I was like, man, what am I gonna do with this? These are like scissors. These
You had no
scissors are
experience at all
sharp.
before, right?
Yeah, no experience. Well, like I messed around with hair when I was like when I was a teenager, but like, you know, like any other girl, you know, like trying to do their hair.
Yeah.
So like that morning the teacher was just like, yeah, you know, like the whole room, there was like 26 people in the room.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, by the end of the year or the school year, like half of you won't even be in here anymore. Because like most people drop out.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so
Damn.
I was like, I'm gonna be that person. That's gonna be one of those people is gonna be me. So then they taught me how to like look at my financial aid, and I was for sure going to like walk out during lunch. Like I was gonna walk out during lunch, and I'm gonna sell my kit. Yeah, yeah, for real. So then I go down to the cafeteria, and they show me how to use the computer to look up my financial aid.
Mm-hmm.
At that time when I went to beauty school, beauty school was only $6,000. Now it's like $26,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
$32,000. Yeah.
I didn't
So
realize
then
that.
I was like, I looked at that number and I was like, Pang, you gonna stay? Like, you gonna learn to cut some hair?
Yeah. 'Cause you're
So-
already enrolled, right?
Yeah. So I stuck with it, and by the end of the school year, I went like 7 days a week. At that time, we could go 7 days a week, full time.
Damn. Weekends too then?
Yeah, weekends too.
Wow.
So at the end of the school year, it was only me and another Hmong girl
Mhm.
that graduated.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's how I started doing hair.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's like, it takes a lot of ambition and like pressure. That's a lot of pressure in
It is,
yourself, you
it
know?
is, yeah.
So just to backtrack a little bit, so you're like
Yeah.
in your early 20s. You
Yeah.
didn't really have a passion for
No.
hair or makeup, like an actual passion yet.
No.
You're kind of just figuring out what you wanted to do on your own.
Yeah.
So what would you say really pushed you to do that, to take that step?
To be honest, it was really because like I was like, you know what, a lot of people go to school and end up not really doing what they go to school for
Yeah,
anyway,
of course.
right?
Yeah.
But that's okay, because then you find you like through that experience you find your way.
Yeah, you find new things that you
Yeah,
end
yeah,
up
yeah.
loving.
Right.
And I was like, if I don't go, and if I don't go, I'm not gonna know, right? Because I was like at the factory job pushing skids off the trucks with
Yeah.
these two older ladies, and I'm like, dude, there's like nothing. There's not like that's it.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
and I
That's
swear,
my life?
Yeah, no, and I thought that was gonna
Yeah.
be my life too, but then I knew like, I knew there was something else, you know, because I wasn't like deep down inside I wasn't happy. That's why
Right.
I was so depressed,
Yeah.
right? So I think what really pushed me to like do it was because I had my son.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, that could always be like the main thing is that I wanted to be like an example for my kids, but then at the same time, I think you know, because my son is 21 now,
Yeah.
so he's gonna grow up, he's gonna go and do stuff on his
Right.
own, you know. By that example, it's gonna help him, you know, figure out what he wants to do, right? And actually really believe that he's gonna be able to achieve it, and that
course.
way he can go, right? So, but at the end of the day, once that's all like, he's all grown up, doing his own thing, having his own life, what becomes my purpose, right?
Yeah, right. Like, because now you're not just a mom anymore. Now it's like,
Yeah,
what am
yeah.
I doing with my life?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was challenged by that when I had my daughter, right?
Mhm.
So I was like a single mother again, right? I was like, man, I gotta find out who I am. And when you try to find out who you are, where do you start? You start from where you're from, right? And where are you from? You're from like where your parents are,
Yeah.
right? So it's through looking at what my parents went through helps me with pushing forward
Yeah.
all the time, dude. Like, I think about it all the time. Like, when I get on a plane and I'm scared and I'm about to be on this plane for like 10
Are you
hours.
scared of flights?
I wouldn't say like I'm scared, but there's always that thing in the back of your head,
Yeah.
you know? Like, even
Just
when
maybe.
it's just like you in a plane in the air, dude, and you're gonna be on that plane for like 10 hours, and
Yeah.
you're gonna literally go to the other side of the country or
Yeah.
the world, you know, and then you get there and you don't even know what's gonna happen there. You don't really know what to expect, you know. So like every time I get on the plane, I think about it, and I'm like, dang, you know, like our parents did this without even like.
They didn't know where
speaking.
they were going. Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
But it's that's I think what's kind of nice is like we get passed down their hard work ethic, but we have to translate that into kind of a different generation of what we do versus what they did. You know, because
Yeah.
like for them it was a lot more survival. For us, it's like how can we apply that survival work ethic to something towards like a career for us?
Man,
you know?
if anything, right now is a perfect example, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now is a perfect example to like to apply that.
Yeah. You know, your story is actually really interesting, and it's very familiar to me in so many ways. Because I know for me in particular, I didn't go to college right away. I actually ended up going into manufacturing or like factory job for like 3 or 4 years before I ever pursued health. And it wasn't until I had my daughter as well.
Yeah.
And so like that really drove me to really see what I wanted to do, what I love to do, and that was really to help people. And I didn't know in what way that I wanted to do that. I just know that I just want to help people, and the only way I knew how was to like save lives. So which is why I went to school for emergency medicine, or EMS. And even though my parents were saying like, man, that's so dangerous, but I'm like, you guys raised me to, you know, pursue my passion and do all of this. So now I'm doing like the greatest job that I can ever think of, you know. No, I'm not saying have a kid too. I'm not saying that's what it takes to find what you want to do or to push you.
Right.
But sometimes all you need is that push. You know?
I would say though, like, I think sorry.
No.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of people, they kind of use their kid as either, they use a scapegoat for one of two things. Either like, for one, is a failure. It's like, well, I have a kid, I have these responsibilities, I can't pursue my own passions, I can't pursue my own career. Or two, for success, like that I have to be better too. Yeah, exactly. You know, and for me, I just choose to be on the other side of that, because you know, it's all the same things. It's like, I have a kid, you know, I'm married. There's a pressure that you have to provide. You have to be the best you can be, because whenever you're not being the best you can be, you're not being like, you don't have the integrity to yourself to support and provide, right?
No, for real. Like I think there's something that triggers that, you know. And for the people that are like, man, you know, like, I'm never gonna make it because I'm not a single parent, or I don't have a baby, you know. Like, for people who are in that, like, who thinks like that, no, man, like, you have to really it's perspective. Perspective. And I think it just so happens that we all
it just so happens.
But I think you have to really look at like that internal struggle.
Yes.
You know?
I would say that though too. Is like when you're talking about self-discovery, right? And learning about yourself. For me, it was like, even with having a kid and having being married, like, I didn't really feel the pressure to want to pursue my own passion or, put all my effort into there until I really started to think about it, like, what are things I actually like to do, you know? And when I started doing that, then I realized, like, oh, these are these other options. And it's like, oh, well, what if I could, apply all my skills and stuff like that to my passion, and that's when everything kind of just comes together. But I think there's a lot of people that they're kind of excuse makers too. I think there's a lot of people who succeed, and there's a lot of people who don't succeed, and I think a lot of the people who don't succeed are people who make excuses for themselves. And they'll be like, oh, well, I'm never gonna, like, just an example, people who want to lose weight. Oh, I'm never gonna lose weight. It's fine, People lose weight, they gain weight. Oh, it's weight. They're just like, well, if you really wanted to, you could really do it if you really tried. But some people they use that statistic as a excuse for themselves,
I think when, like, I honestly believe everybody has, like, their own path, and that you can't really, like, stick your, like, own personal experience into, like, someone else's success. Your success is, like, uniquely made for your own path. And so I think, like, sharing our experiences is it kind of helps in a different perspective, to give someone a different perspective. But it doesn't literally mean like, you made a really good example with saying, like, someone who's, say, they really want to lose weight and stuff like that. Sometimes it is not going to hit them until there's a health condition.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then, like, something has to drive that person enough into, like, wanting to do that. And then there are some people who just keeps going through the cycle, and it takes longer for them to kind of, like, make that change, because we hear it in people that are older that pass away. Like they have, like, they start to want to, like, do things and change things, and so, like, sometimes it just takes longer for some people. And I think, like, success in career is the same as, like, success in, like, whatever it is that you want to pursue, like, personally, like, I have so many moms that's always like, man, Pang, like, you're good, you don't need a man, like, you could just you're already taking care of yourself, and and I'm like, no, man, you're doing the same thing though. It's
just a different path,
it's I'm like, dude, you're managing a whole family system,
right,
like, that's a lot. I'm like, and you live there, like, I'm always, I'm
look
like,
at everyone who's going through COVID-19 now, and they're like, oh, now I gotta live with my kids every day instead of sending them off to school.
Yeah, dude, they're gonna, like, everybody's really figuring it out right now. But Yeah, I think it's perspective, and I think to identify, and it's very important for people to identify what success really means to them, not what someone else says, or not what like your parents has been trying to tell you, you know, what it is.
Dude, Fang and I talk about that all the time. Like, I remember we had this conversation multiple times where it's like, you know, people always think about success as like financial success, and like being us like first generation Hmong kids in America. That's what we're taught. It's like, oh, to be successful means to get a job that gets you well paid so that you can live a well-off life.
It's always like a fixed amount of money.
Yes, a fixed career position, you know, doctor, lawyer. But it's, as we've grown up, like having been told that all our lives and growing up and now seeing that, oh, you know, we don't actually have to do all that. There's actually things like this, you know, like having your own podcast, like me and Fang love this, you know. If they would have told us that we could do this, and you know, like we would have done this a long time ago. We wouldn't have felt all the social pressures of trying to go to school to do all that stuff.
Yeah, I think for us, success now is more. It's not more. It's more financial freedom than anything. If you had to put it into words.
Yeah, for me at least.
So being able to be well off enough to do the things that you love without having to worry about anything else. So no matter how much money that makes, whether that's less money than you make at a corporate job or whatnot, as long as you're happy doing it, I think that's what success really is.
Being in charge of your own life, like the decisions you get to do every day. I'm sure. Do you feel like you have a lot of financial freedom?
Yeah, you know what? I've learned about that.
Financial freedom.
Yeah. So like, the crazy thing about, like, I call it's a chase. Like it's a chase to get that financial freedom. And to be honest, like, man, my sister actually asked me. She's like, dude, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, is Pang gonna do this forever? Like, because I really don't have to. I'm at a point where I really don't have to. But I'm like, I told her, I was like, yeah, dude, I thought about it. My intentions opening up my business, I never had like an actual end goal where I just stop working. It's crazy. I'm like crazy like that. Like, I'm like, okay, if I knock this one off my list, what's the next thing I want to do? And what's the next thing I want to do? Because if you think about it, people who don't, like the older generation where, you know, like financial freedom isn't really like, doesn't really exist besides you retire. Right? So you hear a lot of stories about people who retire and then they find something new to do. Find something else to do. And it's usually like owning their own business or having something that they can have for
their own.
Yeah, for their own with the money that they get from retirement, you know? And so really that's just like you working for 40, 60 or whatever how many years to fund what it is that you really want to do. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, man, it doesn't end. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be working until like, or I'm gonna be doing something. I'm gonna be doing something until like that time comes. You know.
But the great thing is that you love what you're doing. So at least the journey there is like fun.
No, it is.
So talking about success, so you started off when you're in your early 20s. So you worked under you worked under a shop for a while. And then tell us kind of where you're at now and the road how you got there.
So like, so again, like in beauty school, 2 weeks before I graduated, a corporate salon came in, or someone from corporate came in. And they hired me, and I was with them for a really long time. When I came back here, it only took me 6 months to build up a clientele where I couldn't even like, I was only supposed to work 40 hours a week at the corporate shop. So I couldn't even do that anymore.
You were going past 40?
Yeah, I was going past 40 and I couldn't fit everybody in anymore, and that's when I was like, I think it's time to go.
Time to take that next step.
And I had to manage 12 girls too. So that's what led me to finding a suite. I rented out a suite. It was probably like 4 months after I had my daughter. And then that's.
Was it just like a small one?
It was small, dude. It was like not even.
Was it the one around Hampton?
Yeah, it was tiny.
Do you know how much square foot that was?
Man, I can't even. How many square foot is this room right now?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's
Oh.
like
So it's about the size
it's
of this
just
room.
yeah, it's about the size of this room.
Oh,
Probably
wow.
even smaller.
Just a
Like
little
it
bit.
was big enough for me to just fit like a massage bed. You know, I think it's that fear, it's that same fear. But then
You don't have a sense of security. you know?
yeah.
I think our parents in general, they took so many risks to get here.
Yeah.
So to see us taking
Yeah.
risks, they're like, man, you don't have to take those risks.
Yeah, we did it
know,
for
like-
you.
play it safe. You know, just be happy.
Yeah.
And they see us taking these risks, and they're like, oh man, like these guys gonna screw up.
All my hard
So
work.
I do understand 100% like why they're scared or why they want us to like, you know, play the safe side. You know, but I think they do have to understand too that, you know, we're our own people and then
Yeah.
you know, but in the end they usually support us.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, like they totally do.
Yeah.
They like before I had my employees, my mom was just like, "You just go to work and play all day," you know? Like I'm
Sounds like
like,
something my mom
I'm
would say.
like, dude, I'm never home. Like, what do you mean I play?
Like, I don't see what you do. I don't know what you really do.
if
Yeah.
you're enjoying it, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know at the end of the day, it's like they're just like, oh, we just want you to be happy.
Yeah. Mhm.
But that's after they yell at you and lecture you, yeah.
mhm.
So,
So yeah, anxiety about opening up. Yeah. is
did
big.
you have any fail safe when you were kind of on that route, or you just like this has to work, or
Yeah, for me, I was just like, it just has to work. Yeah, because the numbers shows me that it's
It'll-
gonna work.
yeah.
Yeah, and so I just kind of went with that, and then later on, like it wasn't until like I'm in my 30s now that I learned what that was. You know, like planning your business and strategizing and things like that. Like I didn't even know that was what I was doing.
yeah, you were
Yeah.
just doing
I
what
was
you
just
wanted
doing,
to do.
I was just doing it, and then having like my experience to back that up.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm like, you know what? Okay, it says on paper that this is possible.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and then yeah, I just kind of went with it, and really, that's kind of I look at a lot of things that happened in my life that worked out. You know, like I didn't know I was gonna have my kids, and they like turned out they're fine.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and even going to this beauty school, I didn't know it was like hair school that I signed up for. I thought it was like makeup school, you know, and I stuck with it, and it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. It's crazy, but that's kind of like what I do with a lot of the things that I get into. I try it. If it doesn't work out, next thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a chance for me to do the next thing.
Because
know?
you do own a few different kind of businesses.
Yeah,
don't you?
So a part of the hair salon, it's really crazy because then lash extensions became really popular because like Kim Kardashian became popular, right?
Yeah.
So then and she wears lash extensions, and so I kind of looked into it, and then I learned it was crazy because again, I'm like Googling like how am I gonna find like the products and stuff like that, and I YouTubed it. I YouTubed it. I was like, okay, you know what? Cool. I think I got this. So anyway, I started learning how to do. My sister was my first like model. So I worked on her, and I was like, all right, this is it. I took pictures. I started posting it on Facebook, and then bam, my whole maternity leave was filled with lash appointments at my house.
So you did that all within the span of when you were on maternity leave and found out you
Yes.
were gonna get paid.
Yep.
Man, you act fast.
Yeah, no, because like I have to, you know. Yeah. So then, yeah, I was, and at the time I was living in the hood too. I was living in the hood. Like I had a couch that one of my friends like gave me, and people were like sitting on the couch. I had a bed, and I was just like doing these lash extensions while I was pregnant into like while I had my daughter there. Yeah, so then that started.
Man, that's legit just from the ground up.
Yeah, legit, dude. Like I didn't even have AC, man.
Yeah.
Yo, I was sweating. I had like the ceiling fan
Oh,
on.
nothing but hard work.
Yeah, and so like anyway, that kind of led me into doing the lash extensions at the little studio that I had. So then at that time, not too many people were doing it, so there wasn't really that much competition. So there wasn't really a demand to want to do anything more than what I was doing. You know,
So you
like
were
the
doing only
clientele.
lashes at that time?
Huh?
Were you doing only lashes then at that point?
No, I was doing hair too.
Okay.
But there's like different styles, you know, but no one was really doing it, so there wasn't really enough people demanding for something different. So then I was like, dang, there needs to be competition.
Yeah.
And the only way there's going to be competition is if I teach it.
Oh,
right?
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah. So then that happened. Then I started teaching. And then that kind of helped me like grow that competition. So then I knew like I had to expand into like a different location.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So then, because I couldn't even fit my bed in that hair salon and then trying to like have all my stations anymore, because I would work on like 5 people at a time.
Yeah.
You know, and so all the chairs were filled. So then that's when I opened up the lash and the brow place. And I wanted, the classes was getting bigger. Like there was more people taking classes, and I needed like a space to do that too. So then that's when I opened that spot up.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, man, what if I taught them how to do what I did when I was in that experience, experiencing that too?
Yeah.
So it all just kind of like came together, right? And so that's how I opened up the studio and academy. And then along with that, I have a program called Project Hope. I did that I kind of had to like make a home for each thing that I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, because like I knew I wanted to take the lash and the brow a little bit more serious, and I knew I was like set with the hair salon. So then I did the lash and the brow place.
Yeah.
But now there's like what came along with that was a lot of people like just likes to come in and talk to me, like they just like yeah. And the thing is, I get really like I talk like this to all my clients.
Yeah.
So like when I'm working and I'm talking like this, it's kind of like slowing everything down, you know. And then I think on top of that too, like a lot of people really took that information, actually went on and now have successful businesses.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
And what I really broke it down to was with the youth.
Yeah.
Like I love working with kids.
Yeah.
Like, cause I love being a mom. So, I knew like that's where it starts, you know. And so, if I provide like some sort of like a different perspective for the kid, because for me, I'm like, man, with the parents, I'm talking to the parents every 6 weeks when they come in. And it's always the same conversation. I don't really see anything changing. So for me, I'm like, man, the adults, that's it. You know, that's it. I can't really like change their perspective besides their experience. But with the kids, like I can kind of like help encourage, you know. And so that's how I created Project Hope. I started creating like different projects and stuff like that for it. I haven't really gotten a chance to do much of that this year, but I think right now with this time,
gives you some time.
It's gonna give me some time to plan some things out. So So and then along with all the other things on my list, but
You are such a busybody. How do you find time for all those things,
a lot of people
including
say
your family?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that. So, man, I take my time, dude. It wasn't until like the last 2 years that I started to like break it down and then make it actually like setting it on my calendar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like between 5 to 6, I'm up meditating and then prepping breakfast for my daughter, and then between 7 and 8, I'm taking her to school. Like if I pull up my phone right now, that's what
Full
you see.
everything.
Yeah, at 8 o'clock, Pang, go home, sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sleep time. Yep.
yeah. So like that's how I had to kind of like, I don't know, schedule my life so that I can fit all the things that I do want to do like in there. Because if you think about like when you wake up, I think when I used to do this, it would take me like 25 minutes just to figure out what I'm gonna wear.
Right.
You know, and
So
so
how do you solve that now?
man, dude, I just get up. I would like, no, for real, I just get up. Everything just kind of looks the same.
Yeah.
Like I just put on,
grab something?
I just grab something and then that's it. So then, I try to like really minimize all the small stuff so that I can have more time to make bigger decisions like, throughout my day, and then it's more effective too. You know. Yeah. Last year, I was starting to see it change in my physical health. Right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, dang, you can't operate like you're 18 forever, you know? So then I started to figure out like eating cleaner and things like that.
Okay.
You know, just doing all those things because I kind of have to. If I want to do all the things that I want to do in 24 hours, I have to be physically like healthy for that.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
for sure.
So
And that's when it comes to priorities. You got to balance
yeah.
yourself between all the other things you have to do.
Yep, just so that you can do all the things that you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Recently, I found like this. I heard him on a podcast. So his name is Brandon. I can't remember the last name, but his book is like all over.
Do you know what the book is called?
It was like something with high performance. So I got the audio because I don't have time to like read. So I have
I feel the
audios.
same way. That's why I listen to podcasts.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So he talked about like people. There's these people. They're called like high performance people.
Yeah.
Right. I love the example that he uses because now I use that analogy. It's like a high performance car, right? So a high performance car is able to like keep running because it has pit stop. Like it has to stop to like adjust itself. You know, whatever they do at the pit stop. So then, as a person, we kind of have to do the same thing if we're always going, right? So we kind of have to like take our breaks. We gotta make that time for ourselves so that we can keep going. And I honestly, when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I can take 10-minute naps.
Really?
And I'm like, I'm good to go. Yeah, dude, it's super weird. But when he was talking about it, I'm like, that's me. That's what I do.
Yeah,
I think I'm that kind of person because people think like, oh man, Pang, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? Like, tell me what you're taking. Tell me what you're doing and things like that. I'm like, dude, really? Like, I think it's my naps and water. You know?
Naps and water is the secret formula.
Yeah. So that's how I think I'm able to do all that stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, you have so many things going on. It doesn't. It's like you have all your businesses, all your different programs, and your mom. It's like
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. You know, I think the crazy part is that when people see like a business owner, they expect these things to, you know, just happen overnight.
Yeah.
But man, like you've done it in a span of maybe like 10 to 15 years around there, and that's short. You know, that is a short amount of time, and you've literally gone from working like a regular 9 to 5 in a factory to kind of be, you know, building your own empire, pretty much, which is pretty insane. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, like I was super excited to have you come in just because, like,
Uh-huh.
I feel like you exemplified so much of people who we look up to, right? Because in my perspective, I feel like the things that you're doing and kind of where you're at now is you have your own empire. Even if some people might not consider it an empire, I feel like it is because you have your own business and your own passion. You have your own family. At least on the outside, it doesn't look like you're unhappy. I mean, you have your own thing where you're teaching people and you're giving back to the community and stuff like that. And it's like it's the whole package. To me, that's what an empire is. So what's your next goal? Your next first goal?
Oh, so like I was just telling you upstairs. I was like, because I had to, you know, because of all the things that was going on, and I have to like shut down the salon for temporarily right now. I was like, man, I'm about to flip the shop into a restaurant, do a takeout because I love cook.
Open?
Huh?
A restaurant still open right now?
Yeah, they could do takeout.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's kind of like something that I love to do, but I don't know if I'm just like talking, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. But
I mean, it seems like you've done so much other stuff, so I would not be surprised.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff that I really want to get into, and I don't really share it. I don't really share it until like it happens. But yeah, I got a list to knock out.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see it in the future.
Yeah, we'll see you on Google in the future looking up.
That's right.
So if you had like one like main like word of advice for someone who's kind of like in your shoes, that was in your shoes, kind of looking to build their own business or kind of stuck where they're at, what would you give them?
I think be real, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. I think a lot of the challenges that I was hitting was not really what was going on the outside. Like the part where, I might not have enough to start, or I might not, or what if I start and then it doesn't work out? Really, all of that is all inner work.
Yeah, it's all mental.
Every time you hit a block, you gotta go within. You gotta go and figure out what it is that's triggering that, and once you conquer that, then bam, it happens.
Yeah.
So and you're not alone. Like, I think that's one thing that I kept facing was that I'm doing this like by myself, you know. And man, if people actually if it was someone else going through this, like, it would be really scary, you know. So I for me, I was just like, you just have to, I don't know, like, for me, I just wanted to like change that perspective. For you to like give, you gotta really take care of yourself too. As much as you want to give, that's how much you want to take care of yourself.
For sure.
Yeah, so that you can give. So that would be my advice: is do the inner work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you teach any of these things to kids?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, during your.
I do. In the little Project Hope thing, yeah, I do. Or like if the parents bring the kids in, I do it with all my clients.
Okay.
I actually through my process, I started really doing a lot of like inner work and then sharing that with people too. I have separate business for that.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of on hold right now because there's just so many things that needs to be taken care of. But I do offer like some help with that too. I have a business consultation service that people can book and meet with me for like an hour just to talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about with business. And it gives me a chance to be more personal about what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know. So I do offer that, and then
awesome.
with kids, like,
Yeah,
they can
see, I didn't
just
even know that.
show up.
So how do people? So plug it right now.
Yeah,
you wanna
you go.
plug it.
Yeah,
If you wanna plug it.
you just go to StylistPang.com. That's STYLIST, right?
Yep.
PANG.com. And on there you can, if anybody wants that kind of help or just that conversation, they can book on that website.
We're gonna do that when she leaves.
Yeah, we're gonna
gonna
go
read a
book it
book.
right now, as soon as you leave. Cool. Well, thanks, Pang, for coming in. We really
Yeah, thanks for
appreciate
having
you
me.
coming in, sharing your experiences, telling us your
Yeah, no,
stories.
you've been an absolute inspiration to a lot of
Yeah.
people, so which is the reason why we wanted you in here. So
Thank
it's been
you.
an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, that's about it, fans. Thank you for joining us again. Once again, check out our friend Stylist Pang, and just stay tuned for more dope insight.